Yo, what's happening? Welcome back to the number one podcast for cash physical therapists in the world, Cash Physical Therapy Headquarters. Today, we're going to be talking about how to plan out your marketing strategy for your practice based off of what stage you're actually in, because everyone's doing some mix of organic marketing, local marketing, workshops, doing some SEO, maybe writing some blogs, maybe putting out some ebooks, running meta ads, Google ads, posting content. And a lot of people just aren't getting results with any of their stuff. And so today we're going to talk about our own journeys with what marketing strategies we implemented that allowed us to get to our first 10K, 50K, 100K months, what our marketing mix looks like right now, and what you should be focused on based off what stage of business you're actually in and what we're doing right now that's working pretty damn well for us. So today, as always, got me, your host, and I'm with my co-hosts, Will Shop and Zachy Avzal. What's up, guys?
What's up, bro? What's going on?
You know, Zachy, you let me say your first name wrong for like 6 years. How do you say your last name?
So, I mean, it depends on what part of the world you're from, right? So, like, you got, I mean, I think any like person not from like North America will kind of like vibe with me on this. Is like, you have a way you let white people say your name, right? and people that are not as cultured, and because at the end of the day, we have a different alphabet, we have a different dialect, different language, and my name wasn't like, meant to be in English. So I like to have like a little mix of both. So it's funny, like if I was saying in Urdu, which is like the language they speak in Pakistan, it would be Afzal. But like when it comes to Caucasian folks, it's tough for them to pronounce it that way because the A's you guys are used to pronouncing is like at. Yeah. It's not right? And so I kind of combine I kind of combine both.
Hating on Caucasians, we just nailed it first try.
Don't dare make it a hate thing. It's a understanding reality thing. And it like what I tell people to say is like Afzal. So like one is a and then one is a at, and then it's like, hey, it's a good mix of both, It lets me like be a chameleon no matter where I'm at. I'm cool. You know what I mean? That's
why you let me call you Zaki for 6 years.
I'm so dumb the whole time.
Zaki Afzal. Dude, I got it. It's locked up.
You represent Caucasians everywhere. First try. Anyway, let's get into it, you guys. Tell us, like, right now, I want to talk about like what you're currently doing for your marketing, and honestly, like, what is like the percentage of your new patients coming from each of those stages, and we're going to talk about like how that changed and progresses over time compared to like when you first started getting your first 10, 20, 30K months. So let's pass it to Zachy first. Yeah. Like, what does your marketing mix look like right now?
So right now, what it looks like is we do a good amount on Meta, but the way we diversify our Meta ads is we have it with identity-based avatars. So the way I kind of rationalize it in my mind is that when you go off of identity-based avatars, instead of just saying, hey, shoulder pain, it's, hey, lifters with shoulder pain, right? Mm-hmm. It allows you to be a little bit more like diversified within one platform, right? Instead of only chasing after people that are pain sensitive, we chase after people that are losing their identity on because of the pain they're kind of having, right? So on Meta, we're kind of running right now lifters with shoulder pain, lifters with hip pain, runners, and then we're just getting into golfers. And like in my mind, that's not just Meta. That to me diversifies within Meta. And I think that's what's working really well for us right now. Is whatever platform we end up using, we like to diversify within that platform. So instead of saying like, hey, we get all of our leads from Meta, we say, hey, we get a lot of our leads based on this population, that population, this identity. So I would say probably 50% of our patients are coming from Meta right now. About 20% of them are coming from organically finding us on Google, searching for physical therapy near me, sports physical therapy, best physical therapy, Las Vegas, those kind of keywords. And right now we are in the process of getting Google ads launched next week. So that's going to be, I'm really excited for that. And then the other 30% is word of mouth, referrals. And that's always a constant stream. We have channels set up to make sure that we're not only asking for reviews, but when they are leaving reviews, we're asking for referrals at the same time. Okay. And typically, obviously, the lead to actually converting rate is so much higher on those. that we do want to continue to have systems built in. So that's kind of where we're at. Our 50% meta, 20% organic search, and a 30% word of mouth referral.
Nice. And has that been pretty consistent with you since you started the practice, or how?
No, not at all. Like when I started the practice, I think I tell this story before. When I came to my first clinical marketer event, we were at like $1 million in revenue already, and we weren't running any paid advertising, right? But so we were pretty much all word of mouth, not a ton of workshops, but a lot of like public speaking events. Like I was getting invited to conferences and like, you know, events at a park where I talk to a bunch of people, and we like get a lot of local recognition through that. And then obviously my working with like the professional sports teams in town, they directly send us players too. So there was a lot of local relationships that we'd already built really solidly that helped us a ton. But I would say like the biggest thing that helped us grow over the last couple of years, where we've had basically 50% growth year over year, even after we hit 7 figures, we're still at 50% growth year over year. And that is from really dialing in the paid advertising and more predictable lead channels versus just relying on waiting for somebody to feel good enough about how they're doing to actually send you someone.
Yeah. Heck yeah. Yeah. No. And I want to circle back to somethsomething that you said, because I'm wondering if Will or Ben ever did this mistake that everyone else does, where that you run like super general, like meta ads, just targeting like shoulders or back, or just a physical therapy assessments. Did you guys ever run any of those in the past?
I have.
You have?
I feel like it was completely out of fear, right? Fear of missing out on people. And like when you're running ads or any kind of marketing through fear and like desperation, one, people can smell it. Two, it's like you hear from every successful business, you need to know exactly who you serve and speak exactly to that person. And then when it's time to do it, when you're inexperienced and don't have people to guide you through it, you're like, but that just, you know, turned my like population that I can actually reach down to this many people. And instead of realizing that many people is who you actually want to work with, that message is going to land a lot harder. And then the percentage amount of people that are going to hear that message and actually want to work with you is so much higher that it's exactly what's going to get your schedule filled up and you working with the people you want. Instead of thinking like that, you think of like a fear of missing out, you know, and like the desperation of wanting to reach as many people and thinking it's all a numbers game. I need to reach as many people as possible. That's what was going through my mind when I was inexperienced with the marketing side. And I know I've seen other physical therapists do the exact same thing, so I know I'm not alone. But I would say one of the biggest things that got us to have a much more predictable marketing system was completely throwing that out of my mind and only like targeting the people we really want to work with.
Yeah. And Ben, Will, have you guys done the same thing?
Yeah, I mean, we did early on for sure. And I think the main thing is like everything that Zach has said is like, I totally agree with. But the other thing is, you know, when you do that, you end up getting like a relatively low cost per lead. And you're like, oh, I'm getting cheap leads. Like, that's great. But then the problem is you can't get them on the phone, or you do get them on the phone and they're like a couch potato, right? Like you almost have to run exactly what Zachy said. You have to run a like very niche avatar where it's like, okay, yeah, it's shoulder pain, but it's like gym goer shoulder pain with bench press, right? Something like niche like that. And then you can also run like an anti-avatar as well, which is like something that we do. Like we mentioned, like, hey, not for couch potatoes. And what that does is it's funny and like you get like a lot of like engagement from it. But two, what happens is people who are couch potatoes, they read that and they say, oh yeah, no, I'm a couch potato. Like that's not for me. Or even better, it'll attract the right person even more, because somebody will say that and they're like, oh yeah, I'm not a couch potato. Like I don't even want to be around couch potatoes. Like I don't want to associate myself with that at all. I'm going to click on this ad even more. Like that makes them want to click more. And so like having like creating that that like world of like really specific targeting in your ads is key for sure.
Yeah. And it's what people just like, they don't realize, like everyone says that they're not a marketer, they're bad at marketing, but they don't realize that all marketing really is understanding your person better than anyone else. And I've never met a physical therapist that can't in tremendous detail describe their patient's problems. Just, they feel like they almost like need permission to like talk about those specific details, or they think it's too like nitty gritty. That's exactly how meta works. Like, especially today with Andromeda, like your messaging, like what you say in your creative and in your ads is what determines the targeting. So the more specific you can be about like shoulder pinching, reaching in the back of your car, or having to sit on the sidelines with bands while the rest of your friends in the group class are working out and doing like overhead shit, or are out running and competing in a marathon that you got to sit out on again. Like those are the things that bring in the, not only like the premium clients, but it's like how your ads get shown to more people. The more specific you can get, the more people you're going to reach. It's almost like the opposite of what most people would think. So I would argue that physical therapists are a lot better at marketing than they think. They just overthink it all.
Well, and if
none of it's hard.
And yeah, totally. And like, I'm somebody that doesn't like marketing. Like I love sales and numbers and like leading, like that's like my world, like ops. But like I've grown to like marketing a lot more. And because the way that I think about it now is like, I used to say, oh, we don't want to push all these ads because, you know, whatever, we want to grow organically and we want to do it naturally. And like,
don't want to bother
the thing
people.
is like, yeah, totally. And like, but the thing is like, when I see an ad on Instagram and I'm like, man, that ad is speaking directly to me. I'm like, that's so convenient that I needed this product or this service. And now it's right in front of my face. Like I felt like they did me a service and like, so that I can actually do it better. And so what happens when you run like a general ad that's just, you know, shoulder pain, and it's like, it's not speaking to anybody. If you're not speaking to like somebody in particular, you're speaking to nobody. And so you want to make it really specific. If you are somebody that works with golfers or whatever, and it's like your ad needs to be speaking to a golfer with lower back pain who wants to increase their distance and go play golf with their friends more. Like that's who it needs to speak to, because you're going to get the best results for them. And if you're speaking to this general low back population, that maybe like is, you know, like a couch potato, or maybe like you don't know anything about whatever, bowling, and it's like, oh, like, this guy's got back pain, he's a bowler, and it's like, well, you don't know anything about that. Like you want to golfers, make your ads to the people that you're going to serve best.
Right.
I think it comes down to also believing in your product too. You know, like I feel strongly that everybody that's active would benefit from being treated and working with ProKinetics, with working with our physical therapist. There's nobody that would not benefit their life drastically by working with us. And so at that point, it's my obligation to make sure that as many people know about ProKinetics as possible, and that where they can get help to solve an issue. And if I'm scared to get that messaging out there, you got a bigger problem in your product and what you believe in than anything else. And it's not actually a marketing issue. And so you just need to be able to believe in your product and know that, have that same belief.
And the fear of like bothering people with like too many ads or content is the funniest one. I was watching this Hormozy video. Maybe you guys saw the same one, but he was talking about his $100 million offers book, and he spent $10 million promoting that book. And he had like billboards, insane number of ads, like all over Vegas. Zachy, did you ever see him, like any of his like billboards and shit? Yeah,
all the time.
Well, in this interview, he was talking about like, he spent all of this money to promote his stuff. And then when he was walking down the strip, somebody stopped him, said like, I love your stuff. I watch all of your videos. He's like, great. Like, did you check out my book? And the guy didn't even know that he was promoting a book. Still didn't even like, never saw an ad, never heard of the book, didn't know he was even doing a book launch. So that just goes to show it's like, nobody knows you exist. No matter how much money you're throwing at your ads, I guarantee you're not spending as much as Alex Hormozy. And so like, you can't overspend and be too prominent in your community. Like what are you guys spending a month on ads right now? Who's spending the most?
Probably not us. We're spending like 12K.
12K?
Yeah, we'll just from just my Vegas clinics, we're at 25 a month.
Hell yeah.
I will say this though, we're in the process of acquiring a clinic, and we're going to open a second one. And so in the next couple months, we'll be at like 16K.
Get it.
Hell yeah. Ben, what do you like, 20?
Yeah, we're at like 20K for Meta and then like 5K for Google Ads.
Nice. And ROAS across the board for you guys?
So for us, we're pretty consistently between 4 to 5.
4 to 5?
Yeah, just depending on the month. I think on average year to date, we're at like 4.6.
Yeah, we sit between a 6 and an 8. But as we do increase ad spend, like I know it'll drop. Like the goal is to spend more and to kind of sit where Zachy's at, like that, like 4 to 6 range. I mean, obviously the goal is to be at a freaking 10, but at scale, like I'm good at a 4 to 6 range. Anything above that, like I'm happy with it.
Yeah, we hover like around high 4s, low 5s for the most part. One thing that's driving us down a little bit is we're running hiring ads, which don't have a direct
right.
ROI from a patient acquisition standpoint, but they have a high, it's funny, we actually one of our best creative, we have one creative that we spent like $30 on. We got a new patient from a hiring ad. I'm like, how did this it was like our best ROI creative was a hiring ad and acquired a new. I still have no idea how that worked, but it's just like you just never know what's gonna.
Well, and you also have to remember too, like when you talk about ROAS, like if you're not converting well and your prices are too low, like you don't sell big enough packages from like a big cash up front kind of standpoint, that'll kill your ROAS. Yeah, so it's like our cost per lead. So our ROAS sits between like a 7 and an 8 right now, but our cost per lead is $80 to $90, which is usually higher than like most other people that I talk to. But our ROAS is higher, and it's because our lead to package, we sit at like 25-30%, and our package prices are anywhere from $2,500 to $4,500. And so it's like we make it up on the ROAS, and like I would much rather have a cost per lead where we have. But our CAC and our CAC is like good, but our lifetime value of our clients is so high that our ROAS is healthy all the time. And so it's like I would rather be in that situation than have a $25 cost per lead and a 2 ROAS. Like that's a quick way to die.
Yeah. I think what's super cool about that too is like people a lot of times forget like we're in the business of like having a compounding business, right? We're not trying to get people in and out of the door. This is not something we get people in. You're good, patch you up, kick you out. It's like we want you to be like in our business for the rest of your life as long as you continue seeing value and continue valuing the relationship. So even the ROAS calculations we have are probably a little bit underestimating the power of these ads, right? Like, for example, how I calculate the ROAS, just to have like an exact snapshot of directly what these ads are doing, is like just the money that people have come in and spent with us that one time, right? To go back and figure out, like, I could probably do that. It'd probably take a little while to go back to see people who bought second packages or continuity and things like that. That only improves that ROAS, which is directly attributed to that ad because that person wouldn't have come in without it. But like our ROAS wouldn't be where it's at unless like our average ticket our people buy when they do come in and actually buy with us off advertising is $3,450, $3,450 is the average ticket price, right? So that takes us to a point like, hey, we can spend to acquire a customer that comes in and buy, we can spend $700 and hit 5x. I don't know anybody else in my area that can spend $700 and profitably. Nobody can. So we're already ahead of so many people because that's why I can spend so much money and be so prominent in the community because we can spend it because our back end is so solid and our average ticket price people are actually buying is so solid.
Yeah, I think that's super important. Like track your ROAS on like your 30-day cash collected. Like that way anything above that is just gonna be a bonus. And so like for us, it's like we know that about 45 to 50% of our clients are gonna move into some sort of continuity, which brings our lifetime gross profit all the way up to, we're at like $4,500 for lifetime gross profit. That's after fulfillment on like paying the team and everything. And so knowing that, it's like exactly what Zachy said. I know that if we have somebody that comes up and opens up next to us, I can outspend them all day and it almost wipes out competition as long as you get good results and you have a strong brand, obviously. But that's like the main thing. That's why you want to have a higher ticket pricing so that you can spend more on ads and it insulates the company.
Right. And get more like cash collected up front. Get as much as you can up front so you can reinvest it back into ads because whoever can afford to spend the most to acquire one client is going to win in marketing every single time. You can just outspend everybody.
Well, do you want to touch on why it's so important to be able to get your cash back in 30 days and versus if you can't, and what the repercussions of that?
Yeah, I mean, I think Jordan just touched it a little bit too. Is like the faster you can collect that cash up front, the faster you're going to be able to redeploy it to your team, redeploy it into more ads, redeploy it into anything that you're going to grow, even pulling out as profit, like, whatever, and doing things personally. Like that cash collected up front is super important. And I'll give you guys an example. Is like we used to do this after the initial package sale. We went to our continuity. We used to do like that, once a month membership kind of a thing. And we almost like basically got rid of it and went to just like more package sales. And the reason is because I found that on average, our memberships were coming in like 1.3 times a month and staying for an average of 9 months. And so it's basically like we were collecting 12 sessions of visits like over a 12-month time period, but it's like, or we could just sell another 12 pack and then sell 2, 3, 4 of those within the year. You're going to increase your revenue. And like I say it all the time, I make decisions based off of 3 things in the company. 3 things have to be true. It has to be good for the company, it has to be good for the team, it has to be good for the client. Well, if we collect more cash up front and we sell continuity packages instead of memberships, we're going to be collecting more cash up front, which is good for the company. The team is going to have a more like regular schedule, more stable schedule, so that they're going to be able to see the people that they're working with and they enjoy working with and get better results. And the clients are going to get better results from coming in more often. And so it's a win-win-win. And so that's why we made that switch. You collect more cash up front and it stabilizes everything.
Yeah.
You need to be able to collect that within the first 30 days so you can reinvest, because otherwise you also run out of money. So if you can't get your initial investment back within the first 30 days, you run out of money. If you're strictly relying on ads, like again, you're able to we have the luxury that's not, neither of our practices are 100% relying on meta ads. We could pull funds from organic and referrals and stuff like that. But if you're strictly relying on that platform, you need to be able to get your money back within 30 days. Otherwise you can't increase your ad spend and continue to reinvest from that channel too. And I think
that's why it's so hard for insurance clinics to really scale meta ads, because their cash flow cycle is so long.
What a shitty business model.
It's even infiltrating the cash PT world a little bit. There's like groups teaching out there that, hey, don't even present a paid in full option. It's
just crazy.
It's like a 3-4 month program, just collect it over 3-4 months. I'm like, what? So if you had the option to get this money right now, you wouldn't? Like, no, that way. And then they're like, oh, because they're already now used to paying monthly, and now they just roll over a continuity, which is also monthly. I'm like, well, like if you have a hard time selling that's not a issue with the way it's an issue with the way you're set up and the way you're promoting it and how you're communicating it, right? And so I think that same mentality is infiltrating the cash PT world as well. And like Will said, if we all were gonna want to sit here and get stinking rich, I would have went into some other business, right? At the end of the day, we're still trying to make a massive impact on the people we're trying to help. It's just really cool. We can make really good money while we're doing it, right? Yeah. So like Will said, it still is very good for the client to get that paid in full, because now that person is committed to you. Now that person is committed to that outcome and believes in it so much more. And now you can actually get a pulse on their belief, right? Imagine you were going into a program, whether it's like a coaching program, whatever else, and you didn't believe in it enough and you wanted an exit somewhere, right? Like a contingency plan. You're going to be like, oh, I don't want to pay it full. Let me just put in a monthly plan so I can cut it anytime, right? That should be a way that you can actually have a pulse on your team. Like, hey, are you getting people to believe that this is the place for them and that this is where they're going to get the result? And everybody knows that's a big component to getting the outcome from that patient is, can we get them to believe this is the right place, right? So I think that it is kind of a little bit of a cancer infiltrating the performance PT world is hey, just do everything monthly, everything this way. It's better for the patient. They pay less. I'm like, yeah, but you're getting less commitment and you're screwing yourself out of faster growth.
Right. And you're giving every client a reason to back out every single month. You're giving them something to think about every single month rather than just getting that up front. Now, I'm going to transition the questions to get us on track. But I think everything we just said lays a really strong foundation for how to be successful in marketing, because the faster your cash flow cycle, the faster you can scale marketing, reallocate those funds, and create that omnipresence. You can be on Google, you can be on Meta, you can be on TikTok, you can do more SEO. It all comes down to how quick is your cash flow cycle. And if you're not already offering a pay in full price, start doing it, because you're going to have a percentage of people that say no. You're also going to have a percentage of people say yes. And the people who do say no, that's when you downsell them into a monthly option if they want to do it that way. But you're doing a huge disservice to yourself. But if your goal to get more sales is to reduce friction rather than getting better at sales, you're just screwing yourself in so many different ways, and the patient in a lot of ways. So let's go over to Will. What is your current marketing mix? What channels are you all marketing on? And what is what's driving the most patient flow into your practice right now?
Yeah, we're I basically bucket it into two buckets. We have like an organic, local, like boots on the ground kind of style, mostly for like branding, and then we have a paid acquisition strategy. So like paid for us is like 75% of our lead gen. Our paid mix is between Meta, which is like our primary like targeting cycle, and then the second one is Google. And so we run Meta ads, Google ads, and then we have like SEO and all that kind of stuff, our website, but the other 25% is through like local boots on the ground relationship building. And to be honest, like that 25%, like when we generate leads and clients from it, like that's a bonus for us. We really do it just for branding, right? We want to isolate our brand and like insulate it as much as we can in our area. And so we do things like workshops and events at gyms and things like that. We're partnered with every private country club in the area. And so we work like member guests, different tournaments they have up there. And then we are part of like run clubs and things like that. Those are like our main populations we work with, is like the fitness athlete, the runners, and the golfers. And so that's what we do. But the paid strategy is really my favorite one outside of building the brand, is because it's a lever. You can pull a lever. If we need more leads, we increase our ad spend. And I saw that video that you were talking about that Hermosi did, and I was dying laughing. I sent it to our marketing girl, and she was like, "Well, we got to do more ads, I guess. Time to increase ads."
Right.
Like,
Makes you feel baby, so small.
Let's go. I was like 10% a week until our ROAS drops. Like, let's just keep going.
I wish I could drop 10 million on ads.
Dude, I
That's
would.
gangster.
I was literally telling Ricky that yesterday. I was like, dude, I can't wait until we're dropping $1 million on ads every month. Like, because at that point, even if we're sitting at a 4 or 5 ROAS with our continuity on the back and everything, we'll be doing $20 million a year in top line and at margins. It's like, think about how many lives we'll be able to impact in the most positive way. It's like, I think about what's happening now. It's like, we had this lady coming on a Meta ad and went through her whole funnel, right? She filled out a form, called her. We did a discovery call with her. She was like, "This is great." She was an ex-dancer, she's still a dancer, but ex-professional dancer, like ballet, and like on Broadway or whatever. Moved here from New York, didn't have a space, like used to working with these like really high-level PTs. Found us. She was blown away. Came in for the eval, signed up for a package, paid in full, of course. And a month later, I was talking to her, and she was crying because she was her goal was to get back into running. It wasn't even dance, but she was back to running. She ran a 5K, no pain, for the first time in 10 years. Like, this whole thing, she was crying and like just so happy. And she thanked me for creating this company to give her the opportunity to get better. And it was crazy. Like, it stuck with me forever. And like, that was 3 months ago, and I still think about it all the time. Mm-hmm. And so now I'm thinking, why, like if we can scale our Meta ads to, I know it sounds crazy, but like, say a crazy number, $1 million a month, think about how many more of those people will be able to create that impact for and change their life.
Right.
And so
like,
it's
how
like,
many people's lives aren't changing because you're afraid to spend more on Meta.
Yeah, exactly.
Or Google.
And
yeah.
And so like, that's why we're full steam ahead right now. And like, that's our whole entire thing. I tell everybody on my team, it's like, when you join our team, you shed your identity as a physical therapist, and we're now in the business of changing lives, whatever it takes.
Right.
And so, that's our mission. And being able to, do paid ads, Meta, Google, or whatever, that's our lever to get there faster.
Right. Now, I want to highlight something, because we all think the same way, but most people inherently do not think this way. Most people are like, how do I spend the least amount possible on my marketing and still hit my revenue goals? Whereas all of us were very aligned in the fact, it's like, no, I want to spend as much as effing possible on ads as humanly possible. Like going $1 million on ads. Like, most people don't think that way, but that's the way you got to start thinking of it, as a multiplier, as an investment. Like, if there was a stock that we told you that, hey, if you invest into this, you're going to get $5 back for every dollar you put into it, you're going to hammer it. And Meta is the exact same way, except you have way more control over the outcome. That's how you got to start thinking about your marketing.
People want to improve their organic. Our organic is improved by our Meta ads. We get more opportunities for referrals. Like, that's the thing too, is like our ROI of like high 4, low 5s is not counting. It's right now, we just don't have a way to completely track what referrals are being generated because of that. Because those referrals that are referred from us from Meta ads are also a direct ROI, because if we didn't have that person to help that referred that person, we would have also got that other person too. So our organic is also, our referrals is way higher because we're spending on Meta than if we would have just, wore this badge of honor. Oh, I don't need ads. I'm just going to, grow organically. We're able, because we're scaling our ads, we are also able to douse the fire on improving our organic too. And so I don't think that gets talked about.
Yeah. I think
that's also a pet peeve that I have too, is like when people say like, oh, I want to grow organically. It's like,
I was just going to say that.
Yeah, dude, it's like growing, or like you're going to just paid ads is going to help you grow organically faster, because if you have a bad service or a bad product or a bad brand, Meta ads is going to tank you anyways. And so it's like, this is going to help you grow organically faster.
Yeah, I think like the term Ben used, like people use it as a badge of honor. I didn't need ads to grow. Like, okay, cool. You didn't need it to grow to where you're at right now. You probably will need it to grow to where you want to be. And at the same time, just because you're using ads doesn't mean you have to stop growing organically. Like if I in the last month got like 20 new patients organically, right? And then I want to start running ads, those 20 patients still would have been there if I'm running ads. It's not like you have to either or, like do both, layer them on top, and both will start helping, And I think like having it as a badge of honor, it does kind of like speak to the identity of a physical therapist. Like, I'm so good, I don't need ads. Like, well, I'm so good, I don't need ads, but I do them anyway. And now I'm growing twice as fast than I would, if I was just relying on how good I was.
I just lapped you, just 2x'd you, 4x'd
right, exactly.
you, because I'm not being stubborn. Yeah. And there's well, this happened with a couple clients, but there's one in particular who had the same philosophy, did all the workshops, learned it from another program, was willing to die on that hill, but out of desperation, ran some Meta ads. Then he found that his networking was way better. He was getting more workshops because the people saw his ads, knew who he was, and because he didn't need those relationships, those workshops to work out because he was making money from the ads, he showed up way more confident and way more relaxed and coming across as more of like a winner, someone who wins, and that's who people want to work with. And so when you're going into your workshops or you're networking and you need those to work out, you come across with a very different energy than, I don't care if this works out, but if, if it makes sense, great. If not, like, I'm good.
Well, and
like that energy makes it work so much better.
Yeah, and like it shifted our local like boots on the ground style marketing, because now we go in there with the intention of just serving and like building our brand and giving back to the community and chatting with people and having fun. And like, it's funny because we actually generate more leads and more clients from those workshops now, because we go in there with no alternative, like there's no motive.
You're not trying to sell.
Yeah, we're not trying to sell anything. We're just going in there, going to have some fun, and like we'll go grab beers with people after, or like we'll do whatever. We'll go bring, we don't bring donuts to the gyms, but we'll bring something, right? Like, and like it's just fun. Like it's just a fun environment to be in. And although I
love that philosophy. I've never had someone or heard someone like break it down like that, where it's like paid ads are for cash flow, workshops and networking are for brand. Where it's like now you're going into it, you're just building relationships, and if you get money sales out of it, fantastic. But it's like that creates such a stronger trust in the community that you're trying to build. I love that.
Well, and it's funny, like you can have, like if you're running, like this happens all the time. We'll be running an ad, then we're at a workshop, and then people are like, oh, I see your ads all the time, but they're a member at the gym. And then they're like, yeah, I was thinking about clicking it, but like I didn't. But like now that you're here, it's like, oh, this is great, right? And then so now they come in, or the opposite happens all the time too. It's like somebody comes to a workshop, they like don't know too much about us. Then they see all of our ads, then they go check out our website, then they go to Google, and then they see all of our 5-star Google reviews, and they're like, oh man, this place is legit. And so it's just like builds this massive insulation barrier around the company so that people are more confident to work with you anyways. It just adds like an authority piece.
Right. 100%. I love it. So let's switch over to Ben. What's your current marketing mix? What's your number one acquisition strategy?
Yeah, ours is people finding us on Google. I'd say about 65% of our new patients come from Google and our website. And then I'd say about 25% come from 15-25% come from Meta ads and paid ads, like Google ads and stuff. And then the rest is like referrals and stuff like that. So
I love that. So I think you paint like the perfect picture of like how everyone wants their marketing to go, where you started out doing all workshops, you added in meta ads. For a while, that was probably a much larger percentage of all of your people. But then because you were also focused on getting Google reviews, you were focused on making sure your website converted at a high level. Eventually, you hit this like critical mass point where you had enough inbound people where referrals and your organic Google search started to take the priority. So you don't have to do those things as much. It's basically just like gas on the fire at that point.
Exactly. Like we collected Google reviews from our meta ads and leads that came from that. Now we get more organic leads from our Google ads that were generated, or Google My Business and SEO, that we otherwise wouldn't have gotten those reviews if we didn't have meta ads, and getting results for those people too. So it's just also another example of a testament. It's not just referrals. It's like the reviews that you collect from meta ads fuel the fire for organic too.
Right. So I kind of view meta ads like it's an accelerant in every way, because the ultimate goal that everyone wants, that they wish they could have from day one, is that everyone is just finding them on Google and coming straight there. But if you just rely on that to slowly compound, maybe you're paying like an SEO agency that's going to take you years to actually like get the kind of results that you need, hit the numbers that you want. I totally lost my train of thought. Or you can use meta ads to increase your patient volume and the velocity that you're able to generate Google reviews. That's going to compound into that organic ranking, and allow you to get to that place, that dream scenario that Ben's in right now, so much faster. And so it's not that you have to rely on these channels forever. Your marketing mix is going to change as the years go on. And I want to talk about that next, and how all of yours like evolved into where you're at, and finish up with like where people should probably like start and how to get to that point. So why don't you guys tell me this? Where, like, when you first started marketing your practice, like how did you get to your first 10K, and how did that look between like 10K, 30K, and where you are today? Like, how did it evolve?
So I think I can provide a little bit of unique perspective on this, because I've done it two different ways, right? So, and I think Ben obviously as well, because he started boots on the ground, then opened up another clinic, and then Will's going to do it differently when he opens up his next clinic compared to the one he already had. So basically when I first started, it was like literally Dream 100 list of the people I want to work with. I want them to refer people to me. I researched for that for a day or two, like all day. And then I was knocking on doors pretty much all day, talking to gym owners, talking to people. To me at that point, it was like a numbers game. It was pretty much like me putting up flyers on cars, but it was, getting touch points with people that could potentially be clients and patients, or potentially send me clients or patients, and building those relationships organically. And a big part, I even had like a Google Doc that was like a meeting new people script that I usually have, and like the points of it, so I could teach other people how to do it too, if I needed to hire someone to do it. And then, so like, I probably didn't hit like off organically. I probably hit 10K at like 5 months in. So I had 5 months in, and we were hitting 10K pretty consistently. And for us to get to that 30K, we needed to hire someone. But like after that 10K, the 20K came faster than the 10K did. So 5 months in, got to 10. 3 months later, got to 20, and then like kind of capped out, because like, did I have more time to treat and be more of a revenue producing person? Absolutely. But guess what I was doing? I was knocking on doors still, meeting new people, running more workshops. So I was capping myself on how much revenue I could actually produce for the business, because I was doing all those other things, right? Mm-hmm. So the next clinic we opened up, so our Northwest clinic in Vegas, we opened up in January of this year. We just hit 60K last month, and it's been 6 months. And driven by meta ads, driven by, we already have a local presence, which is good. We still get referrals up there as well. But it was such a different marketing mix, because we were relying on, asking for referrals. We were relying on people finding us on Google. And then we were relying on meta ads, and having a strategy that like, I can turn up from this seat right here, this computer right here, I can turn it up. I don't have to, okay, now I have to set aside 8 more hours a day for the next 2 months to knock on doors. I can turn it up here. So we had a couple different ways of doing it. I think everyone does need to kind of earn like that, like skin in the game by knocking on doors, meeting people. I think it helps
character building.
character building, learning how to take rejection, building grit. Like, I think people need to have some aspect of that. So then when it comes to the sales game, they don't just hear the first no and they start beating themselves up about it and this and that. They can actually persevere through it. But I think like once you had that, once you earned your stripes there's much better ways to start up clinics faster. And that's kind of what we did with our second one in Vegas.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it. So, I mean, go ahead, Ben.
Get kicked down a little bit. Like, I've been laughed at when I walked into a gym. If I get a no from a patient with an insurance objection, I don't give a shit. I got laughed at in my face. Like, you know, it gives you that badge of honor and just kind of that grit.
100%.
You get some people that are like so beat up about getting hit with a no for insurance objection. Like, no, you get laughed at in your face first, and then that won't feel like anything.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Me and Max's first company, it's called Health Connection, is a software company. And my only marketing strategy that I knew was like, I'm good at talking to people. So I did clinic walk-ins. I just cold walked into clinics and be like, check out my app. I got laughed out of so many clinics. So many like receptionists are just like, get out of my face. Like, I got so much shit to do. But I got nothing out of it. Nothing but that like grit and that resilience to getting like rejected and a pretty damn, good stories out of it too.
Yeah.
You're either earning or learning.
How did you get to your first like 10, 30K months, and what did the progression of your marketing model look like?
Yeah. I mean, it was pretty similar to the other guys too, honestly. Like, I also had like that list of 100 people that I just wanted to go, create connections with, gyms, things like that. And so I did the same exact thing. Just walked in and like would meet people. I used to be a pretty competitive CrossFit athlete back in the good old days. And so I had pretty good connections in the CrossFit community around. And so like I just started there and like we're just going into random gyms, meeting different people. Funny story though is like when we started working with golfers, I never golfed before. Like, I just started golfing maybe like 4 years ago. And when we brought Ricky on, he was a golfer, and we were like, dude, let's go work with golfers. And so I would book these lessons with these pros, and my swing just didn't even exist. Like, it was so bad, like just so bad. And so I was like, yeah, like we work with golfers, and they're like, bro, you suck at golf. Like, and I was like, no, not me. Like, not me. We got this other guy, he's a golf guy. And like, but it was funny because some of those early relationships, like they were like, this guy's crazy. And then I ended up getting him to come in, and then they got to work with Ricky, and they're like, oh, this dude, like, he's a legend, right? Like, so good. And like, but it was by putting myself out there and like in a vulnerable spot and like getting laughed at that created that connection. And now we still have these connections 4 years later with these people. And so really, I mean, by that time we were doing like 25, 30K probably. And we really didn't start running ads until 40K months. And I just went back and I did this, but basically it took us like 36, or I'll double check. It was like 36 or 40 months to hit our first million. And then it took another like 17 months after that. Then it took 12 months, and now we're doing it in less than 6 months. And so it's like the paid ads piece is like really what got us there, like to where we need to be. And but early on, like you guys said, it was the repeated no's. I mean, like we got turned down 9 out of 10 times. But when you do that 100 times, you create these 10 really strong relationships with people. And it's like you have to do that at the beginning. Well, you don't have to, but if you want to go faster, you have to do that at the beginning. Create the relationships, build the brand, and that's the most important thing. Like I love what, like we were talking about, like collecting cash up front and like shortening cash cycles. But I think about that in like growth cycles and anything. Like I love what Elon says, where he's like, take your annual goal and then compress it into a quarter. You grow 4 times faster, but it's not 4 times faster that year. Like that compounds year over year, and you hit these like growth curves that are just insane. And you get to learn, you run into these new problems and you create these new solutions. And like, that's the fun part about this. But it does start with, like Zachy said, door knocking, man. Like you gotta go get a bunch of no's. It builds up that grit and that character. And like I said, you're either earning or learning. And so they both normally don't happen at the same time.
I will say that I have noticed that the people who had started with our program, that started with meta ads because they didn't have time to do the workshops because they had like another job or something that they're doing alongside starting this, those people struggle the most with hiring. And I feel like there's got to be a correlation between the people who have gotten their teeth kicked in and like persevered through that and like the quality of a leader that they are and other people's willingness to actually follow them. So I think there's like a lot to be said about like doing it the hard way initially, for sure.
Yeah. Well, people see all these 4 handsome faces on here, but they don't see the scars on our back from getting kicked down for the last, 6 years. Yeah. And I wouldn't change anything for the world, honestly. I mean, like those skills that you develop, those characteristics, those traits that you develop, nobody can take from you. And like we were just talking about Ben on the call earlier with the CN clients, basically saying like you have to be able to build those skills, like especially in sales. It's like you got to do those thousands of sales calls before you bring on a sales rep, because that skill of sales is going to help you with everything in life, from actual sales to hiring clinicians to, having a conversation with your wife about where you want to go to dinner, which honestly, I don't care how good you are at sales, you'll lose that. But everything else in life, it's applicable.
100%. 100%. We got to go out there, get over our fears so that we can effectively lead other people through their own fear and make them feel like we're fine. So I'm gonna rapid fire this one real quick. So I want you guys all to come to like a consensus on this. 0 to 10K. What's the marketing mix that you would recommend for people at 0 to get to 10K?
So in
like
my mind,
what can they ignore? I think is almost a better question. Like, what are things that they should be ignoring? Because everyone's doing too much and getting nothing out of it.
I would say what you could probably ignore at the beginning is like SEO, because that is a long game. And I would say Google ads, I would probably hold off on for right now. My mix would be between local boots on the ground, Dream 100, knocking on the doors and setting up workshops and things like that. And then a mix of meta ads, because they are just faster acting, easier to get started. I think that's kind of what my mix would be. I don't know what percentage I would put on it. I would say like a 50-50 mix would be probably pretty decent. But once again, it depends on your personality. Like if I'm an expert door knocker, say I just came and I used to have like a solar sales job or a pest control sales job in college, maybe I'm doing 80% door knocking and 20% meta ads and kind of building up from there. It's like, just depends on personality, but I would say that's the mix I would go for. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I like the 80-20. I mean, I just think like getting to 10K is 3, maybe 4 package sales. It's like, that's 1 a week. And like, I would rather somebody develop those traits that we were just talking about by getting 1,000 no's and a few yeses, just to build up that character, because that's something that's going to carry forward for your $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 months. You know what I mean? And it's like, you'll never be able to take those away from you. So yeah, throw the meta ads in to help, but 0 to 10K, I would put it 80% just grit and then 20% meta ads.
Yeah, totally agree with that. But I'm going to add in the nuance that if you've been building relationships and doing workshops for 6 months and haven't gotten anything out of it, it's probably time to like do something else. I think you've maybe learned some lessons, but if you need cash flow in the door after like a couple months, like probably get something else to get cash flowing in the door while you figure out how to make the relationship thing work.
I would also say, if that was the problem, like if you've been doing it for months, you need to develop new traits. Like that's where you need to read some books,
need to be a new person.
Sales. Like you need to work on personal development. And like, I know we're laughing about it, but like it
happens all the time, dude.
It does happen all the time. You need to become the person that you want to be, that will be doing 100K months plus. You need to become that person when you're making $0 a month. If you're not that person at $0 a month, you will never get there.
Well, I agree. I think if you don't diagnose the reason why these workshops are not going well, these relationships aren't being built, once you add meta ads on top of it, you're gonna get kicked in the teeth, brother. Like, because these people don't know you, they're not meeting you in person, you're on the phone with them. Now the trust has dropped even further, right?
So much further.
I think that I get both points. I think diagnosing what's going on with the workshops is going to be really important in that case.
Right.
gonna take
And for
the
some
easy
people, it's
road.
just they have another job and they don't have time
Yes,
to like
exactly.
be as consistent as they want to be.
Yeah.
Some people are just like introverts, and it's like that is
Yeah.
not a strategy built for introverted people. So I do think
You know
like
what though? I'm an introvert as well. Like if you put me in a room with a bunch of
bullshit, dude.
people, I'll tell you this. If you put me in a room with a bunch of people that I don't have anything in common with, I'm gonna be in the back in the corner and I'm gonna leave. But you put me in a room with a bunch of business guys and guys like you that like we've been friends, like all fucking talk forever. You know what I mean? Like I love that stuff. And
That's not being an introvert. That's prioritizing your time.
okay, well, whatever. I'm a prioritizing your time avert. And but either way, like you gotta develop those skills of sales. You have to develop that charisma, like the book Charisma Myth.
Yep.
If you're having problems, like having those conversations, like developing, like whatever you need to be that person, read that book. Like you have to develop that stuff, or else you're gonna. Yeah, exactly. I bet it's on all of our shelves.
Mhm.
You have to become the person that you're going to be doing 100K, 200K months. You have to do it when you're at zero. If you do not do it, your brand will die. You're going to run meta ads and it's going to fall apart. Once you have that, or I will say, as you do that, crank meta ads and get out in the community and do both at the same time. If you don't have time, remove the shit from your schedule that's blocking your time to hit your goals. You have to.
Totally agree. I like it.
I'm
Ben,
gonna
what do you
add
think?
one more thing. I'm going to take the easy route here and say it's between 80 and 50. So the reason I like it, so to make a point,
Tell us more.
I want the reps. I want the reps of meta ads for sales, so I can be more
Mhm.
effective in the sales for in-person that are higher quality leads. So that's the reason that I do want a little bit higher meta mix, just so I can get somebody can get a rep in, more reps in with the sales, so they're more effective person.
No, I agree. I agree with that as well. But I think it comes with the mindset of how you're doing those reps, right? Like if you look at them as reps, phenomenal idea. If you're looking at them as like, I need this patient to come in or else my business is going to go, oh, this person said no to me, I'm a shitty physical therapist. Like at that point, it's just adding poison to your system and your mindset, right? So like, I agree. I think we're all kind of on the same page. The mindset is what needs to develop, of like having that resilience, having that grit, and like really looking at why I'm doing what I'm doing. If I'm doing what I'm doing to make as many sales as possible, nothing is going to work because rejection is going to feel like a dagger to the heart,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I say that to a lot of newbies who haven't ran ads before. It's like they're so afraid about like spending $1,500 a month on meta ads. Like, what if they don't work? And it's like, don't just think about it like that. Because would you pay $1,500 for someone to come in and tell you exactly where all the problems are in your business? Of course they would. They spend $8,000, $10,000 for someone to come and do that. Meta ads does that with the potential of also bringing in cash. The fastest way to figure out what's broken in your business is to run some meta ads and some cold traffic at your systems. Nothing's going to be more humbling than that, and allow you to learn and accelerate your rate of failure faster, for sure.
Yeah. And I would say just like to put a bow on this thing too, like that 10 to 30K months, that's where I would flip it. And that's where I would go 60, 70, 80% meta ads and then 20% boots on the ground. Because like, that's like the second that you get there, it's like, okay, now it's about speed. Like you're going to develop these characteristic traits as you go, but now you're like, let's go faster.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Now we're technically out of time. Do you guys want to rapid fire some questions from the audience on some of these things, or save it for another episode?
I have a hard stop.
That started 2 minutes ago, but I could be a little late to it if you guys want to hit some.
I'll ask you guys just this.
Okay.
How much should you invest into marketing based off of your revenue? Like how much should people be expecting to put into ads?
10%. 10%, and then it can grow and scale. Like if we're in scaling mode, we'll go up to 15%. And then as it catches up, it'll go down to 5%, but ideally we're around 10%.
Yeah.
I agree with the secondary thing is I think people make the mistake of spending 10% of their revenue on ads. What you need to be doing is you need to be spending up to where you want to be in revenue. And so like if you're doing $100,000 a month or whatever, we'll call it, if you're doing 20K a month and you want to get to 30K a month, you need to spend that money as if you were doing 30K a month, because that's going to be the gap that gets you there. And so for us, it's like we spend basically $1,200 to $1,500 a month per PT on ads because we need 25 leads per PT per month. That's like how our funnel works. And so it's like from there, like we want to spend as much as we can based off of hiring and based off of the revenue that we want to be at or we expect to be at, not the revenue that we're at now.
I love it. Last one for you guys. Why Meta ads and not Google ads? And when to add Google ads?
I would say Meta ads gets you in the game faster, less regulatory control, realistically, like to get authenticated on those things. But then also it gives you more creative control. Like, Google ads, you're going towards, intent-based searches. Like they have to be searching for these specific terms to pop up. And you're also competing against other people that are going for those exact same terms. It's bid placement that you're kind of competing with. Whereas Meta ads, it's more ambush style marketing, interruption marketing, where it's popping up. And as long as you have a good creative, you can compete with anybody. It doesn't matter how much money they're spending, how much money you're spending. You can compete with anybody as long as the creative is good enough and it speaks to who you're speaking to. And then also, like, who's gonna be somebody that's like, understands your service and the differentiation of your service between you and insurance PT more. Someone that's searching physical therapy near me, or someone that pops up and sees a video of you explaining why you're different already, going to a landing page why you're different. That's why I would kind of lean towards Meta ads.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Will, Ben, anything to add to that?
I would have just echoed that same exact thing. I mean, if I was going to add one more thing, which I probably don't need to, but like, I feel like Google search is kind of going down. Like there's less and less Google searches happening every single month. And so, we do it, like we run Google ads, but Meta ads is exactly what Zachy said. I couldn't have said it any better.
Yep. GEO, generative engine optimization, is definitely the future. Just met with Max. We got an insane tool built into the AI call analyzer that's going to handle that automatically for all of us. So excited to talk about that on the podcast and roll that out to all of our coaches and then our mastermind and then to the masses in the near future. So that's all we have time for here today. If you got value out of this episode, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the Cash Physical Therapy Headquarters podcast. And if you got a question that you would like us to work through, analyze, and answer for you on the podcast, go to clinicalmarketer.com/ask. We will answer it on our next episode where we're doing open Q&As. Thanks for listening.